Hey everybody, Ben here. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a quick time out for something really important. Now I know we all love to kick back, binge watch our favorite shows, view the movies, and talk about the latest pop culture, but there's something else we've got to do. Vote. With everything happening around us, this is our chance to be a part of the action. Whether you're ready for a change or you just want to keep things rolling, your vote is your superpower. So put down the remote for just a second, check your voter registration, and make sure you're ready to go for Election Day. Call up your friends, remind your family, and let's turn out like it's the biggest event of the year. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about making noise. It's about making a difference. So let's get out there together and make it count this November. Now, settle in and enjoy the podcast. Welcome to Wilhelm. I am your host, Ben Beck, and today we are celebrating the career of one of the most beloved actors in Hollywood history, the one and only Tom Hanks. From lovable heroes to complex anti-heroes, Tom Hanks has defined a generation of cinema with his unmatched versatility and heart. In this episode, we're counting down our top 5 favorite Tom Hanks movies, exploring the iconic performances that have made him pretty much a household name. And for this episode, I am thrilled to be joined by someone who knows a thing or two about that kind of thing. He is my friend. He has been on before. Welcome back, the co-host of the Quit Chasin Podcast, Alex Kruger. Alex, welcome to Wilhelm.
Why, thank you, Ben. It is an absolute pleasure to be here on another season with another fantastic top 5.
Yeah. Last time you were on, I had to have you remind me because you're a
busy man.
Yeah, I do a lot of these, or maybe not as many as I'd like, but I've done enough that I had to be reminded. And you were on last season for top 5 favorite baseball films.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that was the very first podcast I had ever done in my entire life.
And you were great.
Thank you.
Look at where you are now. Like, you've been on with Kristen and I on Revisited, and now you are the co-host of your own podcast.
It's fun, man. We're 25 episodes in this season and having an absolute blast. The Phillies are winning again, so it's a good time to be podcasting. Give it another week, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But it's been fun, man. This is a really cool journey to be on, and it's a great creative outlet. I'm so happy that, and it really wouldn't have happened without you guys, because I think the first bit of feedback I ever started leaving was on Revisited and on Wilhelm. And you and Christian were so gracious that I was like, all right, I kind of want to see what this is all about. So it was so much fun. I love it.
Cool. I'm glad that you've continued with it and you've pursued it. And, I've been happy to help in any way that I can. So
you've been huge. You've been such a great sounding board and just someone to kind of pick the brain of along the way. You've been so gracious. I appreciate it.
Yeah, not at all. I'm happy to do it. But, as I said, this episode, we are here to talk about Tom Hanks. And we talked a little bit about this before that record started happening. I've done a lot of difficult episodes of this podcast in, really difficult to break down top 5s. Robin Williams is still the hardest one I've ever done just because of my love for that man. But
for sure,
this might be the second hardest episode, the second hardest top 5 I have had to put together.
It's America's father. It's Tom Hanks. I mean, he is everything since the early 80s on. He has been just such an icon for the people that how do you not love but celebrate everything he touches?
Yeah, it's one of those things. So anytime I put together a top 5, it's, I said this the last episode during the James Earl Jones top 5. Anytime I pick a actor or actress to do a top 5 on, or I pick a topic to do a top 5 on, my number 1 is pretty solid in my head from the moment I choose to do it. That wasn't the case for this one. My number one was even a little difficult to choose which one to put in that spot. And anytime I do this, I usually just go to IMDb and I look through a filmography and I make a list. I'm like, okay, I really enjoy that movie, really enjoy that movie. I make a full list of all the movies I enjoy, and then I go down the list and I kind of narrow it down bit by bit to what my top 5 would be.
2 pages later.
Yeah, so that was what I was going to say. So when I went down the list of IMDb and I got done writing them all down, I looked and I'm like, this is like front and back. Like I've never done this before.
Yes, 100%. So let me ask you a question, because as I was giving my list to folks and kind of, bouncing it off of folks, I'm proud of myself. I didn't change based on anyone's reaction to my list, but I'm asking myself, what makes a top 5 for me? And for me, a top 5 is rewatchability. What are the top 5 most rewatchable films for me? If I'm, if I still have cable and I'm flicking through and it's on, I'm going to watch it and I'm going to have a good time. So I was curious, when you're ranking a top 5, what are the criteria you use? Is it rewatchability? Is it artistic? Is it cultural significance? How does that kind of weigh out for you?
So it's important to make it known to anybody who might be just finding this podcast for the first time too. When we do these lists, we're doing top 5 favorites. We're not doing movies that we believe are like the pinnacle of their acting career, because some of the movies that we might mention could have been box office bombs,
Absolutely.
But for some reason we love them. So getting into using that to kind of answer your question, I think there's a number of criteria. So rewatchability is definitely one of them. One of these movies have I watched the most? Like which ones, if I had to choose, if I had to choose which one to watch, if I had to pick one to watch right now, which one of these movies would I choose? So rewatchability is definitely one of them. But another element for me going into this is also memorability. If it, it is, what about the movie is memorable to me? Like if I think Tom Hanks, what immediately comes to mind? And that to me really adds into it. It's not always the case. Sometimes I'll think of a movie that is not anywhere close to my top 5. It might have just been something I've seen recently. There's movies in that IMDb that I went through that I have not even seen yet.
Yeah, I was surprised at how many. Right? Like how many of his epic movies, I was like, son of a bitch, that one I kept meaning to see it. And I never had the chance.
I mean, what was one of his latest ones? I think it's like A Man Called Otto.
A Man Called Otto. Dude, I was reading about that. I'm like, holy crap, I really need to watch this. And I ran out of time.
It's based on a book. I remember seeing the trailer and being like, oh, it's Tom Hanks. I want to see that.
Right.
And I just still have yet to do it. And, ordinarily when I choose a top 5, if there is, for example, when you and I did baseball movies, there were a number of baseball movies I hadn't seen yet. So I was like, okay, here's 3 baseball movies I want to make sure I watch before I solidify my top 5, because one of these movies might end up in my top 5. And it did, because Field of Dreams ended up in my top 5, having just seen it for the first time.
Perfect time to celebrate James Earl Jones.
Right? Oh, yep. If you've listened to that episode, you heard us talk about Field of Dreams.
I can't wait.
But yeah, so, when I was thinking of Tom Hanks, I was like, oh, like I should watch A Man Called Otto because I haven't seen that yet. It's been a long time since I've seen Larry Crown. Like there's a number of movies I haven't seen or haven't seen in a long time. And then I went through the IMDb. I'm like, this is impossible. It would take me a year to
I agree.
This. So I was like, I'm just going to go with what I know, because I already know so much of his filmography.
Oh, so amen. And there's a few that I'm almost ashamed I haven't seen. I'm curious if they will end up on your list. So I don't want to call them out quite yet. But he touches so much. I mentioned this when you had kind of solicited, hey, I'm doing Tom Hanks, that I have this Tom Hanks theory, which is no movie that Tom Hanks is in can be a flop, because the mere fact Tom Hanks is in it means it's going to elevate it to at least right above a flop. There is no such thing as a Tom Hanks flop, because he is just that magnetic. He's just that good.
And it's so crazy that you say that too, because like I have thought long and hard before even deciding to do this episode of the podcast. Are there any bad Tom Hanks movies? There are bad Tom Hanks movies.
Sure.
However,
they're still charming.
It's not Tom Hanks that makes them bad. That's the thing.
It's a great point.
Pinocchio, for example.
Thank God I haven't seen that. I've seen the trailer. I'm good. I'm
not
good
a great,
that.
Not a great movie.
Doesn't look like it.
Tom Hanks is still delightful as Geppetto. Like it is, there is a movie, and I feel like Tom Hanks is going to be one of those ones I'm going to have to revisit in a year or two.
Yeah.
Because the number of movies he puts out, and going back and watching some of the ones I haven't seen before, my top 5 might change. He's got a movie coming out. I think it's later this year. I think it's around Christmas, called Here, which I don't know if you've seen the trailer for it. There's like a teaser trailer. It's a Robert Zemeckis movie. It's him and
The One Room. It's him and
him and Robin Wright.
Robin Wright, thank you.
Where the camera never moves.
Never move. Dude, this is such a cool concept. And if I ever trusted anyone, it's Zemeckis, Hanks, and Robin Wright. Like, really, a Forrest Gump callback? You got it, guys. It's
the tale of like the lives of these two people Tom Hanks and Robin Wright.
Yes.
But the camera is stationary. The camera never moves from its spot.
And
it's all told in one room.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be such a, like, I don't know. I don't want to overhype it, but just the concept and the players attached to it, I don't see how it doesn't work.
Yeah. It releases November 1st. So I knew it was coming this year. I just wasn't sure when. So, yep, holiday
month and a half. Nice.
Which means I might be getting a screening for it sometime relatively soon, hopefully.
You lucky dog.
But let's get into our list. Let's get into our top 5. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about. We're going to have a ton of honorable mentions to do at the end of this. So let's get into our top 5s. To anybody who's new to the podcast, just to let you know, first things first, neither Alex or myself have revealed our top 5s to each other as to not influence each other's lists. So I don't know what any of his top 5 are. He doesn't know what any of mine are. And also because some of these movies you may not have seen before, there's always a possibility of spoilers. So just know that ahead of time. But with that being said, let's dive into these top 5s. And I'll kick it over to you to begin things and start us off. What have you got? Number 5, top 5 favorite Tom Hanks movies.
All right, Ben, I'm going super meta because this is guaranteed one of Kristen Hallberg's favorite movies because it is a delightful rom-com. It features Boss Lady and London 152. No, it's You've Got Mail, starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. It is by far and wide my favorite romantic comedy. I will put it on any time of any day, especially in the spring, and just feel hope and feel love. And I love this movie.
It's a movie I have not seen in a while, but when you put it up there with movies like You've Got Mail and Sleepless in Seattle, the Tom Hanks, I just thought of one that's not in my honorable mentions that I have to add now because it's that Tom Hanks Meg Ryan connection.
If it's that third one, it's in my honorable mentions too.
Oh, it's Joe versus the volcano.
That's such a good one.
We're just gonna knock it out now. But that connection, like it's similar to, as we were just talking about with Tom Hanks and Robin Wright. There are just a couple people that he has a really good connection with, so much that he works with them over and over and over again. Meg Ryan, I think, is top of that list.
100%. And he, leading up to this movie, he had played such a hero all of the time. And you go back and you watch this movie in 2024, and not only are you massively charmed by the simplicity of AOL Instant Messenger and the joys of actually getting email when it wasn't just a whole bunch of bots and Best Buy ads and all that stuff, and it was actual human connection, but you also look at a guy like Joe Fox, and he kind of sucked.
Yeah.
He was the Borders that was taking over all the little mom and pop shops. he got his in the end because then came Amazon. But he took over all of these little shops, and he was so smarmy in the beginning and so just FOX, and just you really didn't want to like him, but he's still Tom Hanks. So you were still charmed, and you saw the instant chemistry and connection with him and Meg Ryan. You knew that her relationship with Greg Kinnear wasn't going to work. You knew that his relationship with, oh my God, I'm blanking on her name, and someone out there is screaming at their phone right now. But his girlfriend, Parker Posey.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
There it is.
I was kind of like, I was silent because I was in my head trying to figure out who it was too, and I couldn't remember.
And it's always fun because he has all these callback actors that he brings. You got Steve Zahn in there, which he'll later work on with another film. He's got Dabney Coleman that he worked on with The Man with One Red Shoe. Like, it's a classic. Nora Ephron, Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, gorgeous love letter to New York City and to the early 90s. And even if, sure, there's some problematic elements such as gaslighting and, deception and manipulation of his character upon Meg Ryan once he realizes that she is who she is. But we look past that, and it's a beautiful love story. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, and it is just the fact that you mentioned AOL makes it just slightly
it's adorable.
Dated.
A little bit.
Yeah, but it does make it slightly dated.
Slightly.
Slightly.
We're talking about Borders knockoff. There are no Borders.
But I mean, you're right too. Like, Tom Hanks aside, when you talk about rom-coms, You've Got Mail is in the top 5 list of rom-coms for many people as well, just because of it is that good of a movie. Sleepless in Seattle is also
huge
up there as well.
Huge. But I think I connect more to You've Got Mail.
I do too, because I think it's more our generation. I think the email is kind of what makes us connect to it a little bit more, rather than, meeting at the top of the Empire State Building. It's still adorable, but
it is.
I connect more to You've Got Mail than I do Sleepless in Seattle.
Awesome. And again, it gave us a somber Dave Chappelle. It gave us a young Steve Zahn. It was such a fun flick. Fun flick.
Yeah, agreed. That's a good pick for
number 5. So what do you have What do you have at number 5?
So my number 5, I went with a movie that when I came across it, when I was going down the IMDb and I saw this movie, I was like, okay, I don't know where it's going to be, but it's got a place in my top 5, because this is a movie that has you talk about reasons why a movie makes the top 5. This is just a movie that stuck with me because I feel like it was a role that was very unique in a list of roles he had played before, but so fitting to just his acting style. I went with a little movie from, I had to look up the year because I'm not sure, 2002. So little over 2 decades ago. A movie that had amazing star power in Paul Newman, Daniel Craig, Stanley Tucci. My number 5 is Road to Perdition.
Man, as an Irish person that appreciates a good gangster film, that is a phenomenal pick.
It is, as I mentioned, like, he just steps into this really unique role, playing the conflicted hitman who's just kind of like he's on the road to redemption, literally the title of the movie. Yeah. He's seeking redemption for past actions, meanwhile trying to protect his son from the world that he's in. His son, who later becomes Superman.
Right.
Tyler Hoechlin is now currently Superman in Superman and Lois. And probably, with the exception of Christopher Reeve, one of my favorite Supermen. But I mean,
that's just because you never got to see Nicolas Cage.
I did, though.
You're right. In The Flash.
In The Flash.
You're so right. Okay.
And I don't know if I wanted to see that anyway. But I mean, like, it's a darker, more complex role than he's played before. And that kind of just like allowed him to explore more emotion. And I think like he played it really restrained, but it still comes across as just like this amazing performance. The film itself is just visually stunning. The other performances in Paul Newman as John Rooney and, Daniel Craig as Connor Rooney, Stanley Tucci, as I mentioned, Jennifer Jason Leigh, it's got a stellar cast. And I think it's the first ever comic book movie, the first and only comic book movie he's ever done, because if I'm right, I think Road to Perdition is actually based on a graphic novel.
I would have no way of being able to verify or deny that, but given the way it was shot and the stylistic tendencies of it, that would not surprise me in the least.
I'm looking it up now, but I'm pretty sure if my keyboard actually worked. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's a comic. It's a Max Allan Brooks comic.
Okay.
Max Alex Collins comic book, Road to Perdition.
Wow. And it's such a good departure for him. And I really like it when he steps out of his traditional comfort zone and he plays a type of anti-hero. And this is probably one of his more daunting and challenging, because to your point, he plays it so well because he plays it so restrained. He doesn't go over the top. He doesn't try to movie star it. He just tries to be an actor, and he succeeds beautifully. I mean, he knocks it out of the park because of that restraint, because it's Tom Hanks. You expect more, and he does his job. Yeah.
You're right. It's that restrained performance that makes it the performance that was good enough to be in the top 5 for me. So, like I said, Road to Perdition, when I was going through his accolades and I was going through his filmography, the moment I saw Road to Perdition, I was like, okay, that's a solid top 5. I don't know where yet, but it's in the top 5.
That's beautiful. That's fantastic. That's perfect.
And even going over everything, I was like, okay, I need to rewatch that, and soon.
Yep.
Because it's been a while.
Oh, it's so good.
So, but that was my number 5. So moving on now to our number 4 on the list. What you got for your number 4?
All right, my number 4, and I'm sure there are people out there that are going to be flabbergasted that it is this low, but it is big. I don't know anyone that saw this movie and didn't at some point wish upon a Zoltar. I don't know anyone that saw this movie and didn't want that damned apartment that Josh Baskins had in New York.
Right?
I mean,
who didn't want a trampoline in their apartment?
Who didn't want a trampoline? Who didn't want a rigged soda machine that they could get, or a tchotchke of a glow in the dark ring, the bunk beds, the fighting games, working at a toy company? Are you kidding me? And then, if nothing else, having a magical meet cute with the boss of all bosses while playing chopsticks on the only piano anyone has ever thought about. And the fact that toy store no longer exists is a travesty.
Oh, no, it exists.
All right.
It's not in the same spot. That scene was shot in FAO Schwartz of New York City.
Yes.
When it was on Fifth Avenue. It is no longer on Fifth Avenue. It is now at Rockefeller Center.
Okay.
So FAO Schwartz still exists, and it's still in New York.
I do want to take the girls up.
And I believe that piano is still there.
Good, as it should be.
Yeah,
as it should be. There are some landmarks we don't get rid of. But no, Josh Baskins, phenomenal. The first Choose Your Adventure comic book based on a computer card, which back in 1980, whatever that the film was made in, I can only imagine how rudimentary the DOS programming on that would have been. But it was fantastic to think about. You had John Lovitz being just a little minor character in a cubicle. You had the dad from Home Alone as the jerk. Questionable decisions by grown women and children that were in man's bodies. Who knows?
Thank you.
So here's the thing. Of course, the first two movies I bring up have problematic things here in 2024, and much like the movie Blank Check, you can't help but realize that a grown woman is getting feelings for a 12-year-old boy.
Oh, that was going to say that's not a problem in 2024. That's a problem then too.
That's true. That's true.
That Elizabeth Perkins isn't getting feelings for a 12-year-old boy. She sleeps with a 12-year-old boy.
It's true. It's true.
There's some ick factor to this movie.
with a renewed sense of understanding of the world. Yes, it is hard to look at certain parts of this film and not question their temerity. But at the end of the day, Jimmy Cocoa Puff. I love this movie. This movie just brings me back to my childhood. It brings me back to dreams of what it was going to be like to be older, what it could be like. did not realize you could get a New York apartment without needing any social security information, a license, or anything to prove who you really are as an adult. You could just show up with a maybe wad of cash and make things happen. But I don't know, simpler time, more enjoyable time. They may have been Yankees fans, but I'll forgive it.
Hey man, just imagine a point in your life where you got excited over a paycheck that was $187.
Wow.
Right?
That's a great call. That is, if that is not everything you've ever needed to know about how inflation works, folks, there you go.
He got excited about a $187 paycheck.
I mean, if you're a 12-year-old kid in 1980, whatever, that is a ton of money.
Yeah.
Think of all the pizza but you know what? I think one of the things that will live on forever about that performance is that Tom Hanks was able to both play someone that you would believe could pass as an adult while still being a kid. One of the most not harrowing, that's the wrong word, but one of the most powerful scenes, I think, in the movie is when Josh is at that flea-bitten motel in the beginning of his journey, and he's so scared at night because he hears the sounds of the big city, and you see him kind of just want his mom, and you see Tom Hanks as that 12-year-old boy, and he's so convincing and he's so earnest and he's so pure in that role that you do get lost in the story. And that's the magic of Tom Hanks. That right there to me is the thesis statement of what makes him so powerful, is that ability to be everything all at once and to make you feel things no matter what role he's taking.
Yeah. I mean, and if you look at the movie, the story itself as an overall thing too, Josh Baskin gained so much life experience from that when he goes back to being a 12-year-old boy, he knows more about the world than any other kid in that entire neighborhood.
Amen.
He has learned so much. I mean, and again, like, yes, there is the ick factor of like the two of them being in a physical, intimate relationship. And it can be argued like, no, he was in an adult body. He still had the mind of a child. Like, it's still sleeping with a child.
I know plenty of 30-year-old guys, though, that have the mind of a 12-year-old boy. So
yeah, that's also true.
Let's be honest.
There's really no denying that. One of them's running for president. Anyway. Anyway, no, that's a good pick. And if it wasn't for the ick factor, might have made my top 5. It is in my honorable mentions.
I'm so happy we've gone through 3 movies and it hasn't doubled up on either of our lists so far. That's exciting.
Oh, just wait, because my next one's a biggie.
Just you wait. What's on number 4?
So my number 4, it is a known fact about me to anybody who knows me well what my all-time favorite movie is, and that is The Shawshank Redemption, based on a Stephen King short story, which leads me into my number 4, which is also a Stephen King story, and that is The Green Mile.
Damn right it is.
This is such an emotional performance. Paul Edgecombe, the guard, working in this prison, who just witnesses like this miraculous power, played by, why is his name?
Michael Clark Duncan.
The late, great Michael Clark Duncan.
Amazing.
Yeah, like he just beautifully portrays like this internal struggle that this man is grappling with of, faith and justice and compassion, balancing with these extraordinary events that he is witnessing. He's witnessing the healing power that this man has, and just the overall likability of this character as well. It's just, man, like, the film just so well blends like supernatural and human drama, and it just allows him to it's that signature warmth and vulnerability that we've come to know Tom Hanks to be able to portray. And I feel like this movie exemplifies all of that.
That is such a good choice. That's also my number 3. So perfect.
Okay, so we're just
that is kind of what we do, folks.
Yeah.
So we're going to combine this one here because I couldn't agree with you more. So number 1, my introduction to Frank Darabont was The Green Mile.
That's right, The Green Mile.
My introduction to Dale Horvath's actor, who the original JDM. Oh my God, who played Dale in The Walking Dead?
Oh, Scott Wilson? No.
Dale. JDM.
Jeff DeMunn.
Thank you, Jeff DeMunn. He was in The Green Mile. Piss on me. I gotta be honest with you. It was also my real introduction to Sam Rockwell. So I knew him from Galaxy Quest, but seeing Sam Rockwell as Wild Bill Wharton, one of the most deranged and despicable and awful characters I have ever seen in the cinematic universe, he was captivating, because up until you find out who he really is in relation to the story, you're like, oh man, this guy is such a little pisser. You know, he's got the whoopie pie thing. He's going to make Percy Wetmore himself. Like he's a dick, but he's funny. Like, I like this guy. And then you realize the depths of his depravity, and you're like, oh my God, this guy's a monster. And the way Sam Rockwell played it was lights out.
I know we're talking about, Tom Hanks, obviously, but I'm glad you brought up Sam Rockwell too, because I've been saying it for years. And I think The Green Mile is the movie that really made me realize how underutilized and underrated and sometimes even underappreciated Sam Rockwell is as an actor.
Absolutely.
Over the years, he's gotten larger and larger roles. And I know it didn't do well in the box office, but like Argyle with him and Bryce Dallas Howard, I loved that movie, and he was the lead in it. And I was like, he's fantastic in this movie. But his performance, like you said, as Wild Bill in The Green Mile is just, it's another memorable performance on top of Tom Hanks and Michael Clark Duncan. I think probably the third biggest performance.
But you know who's right there with him? I got to be honest with you. I forget the actor's name, but he's Goodwin in Lost. He plays Percy Wetmore. I forget the actor's name, but he plays Horace in Lost. He's the asshole guard, and he's now like married to a 16-year-old. I forget his name to say.
Doug Hutchinson.
Yes, and I love that it took me saying 16-year-old Brad for you to remember that.
Made me remember
I think it's the job done. But he actually, so I read The Green Mile, which was a 6-novella series by Stephen King. And it was 6 separate books. I read it in high school before the movie came out, and I loved it. I am one of the most critical son of a bitches in the entire universe when it comes to book to film adaptation. I detest the Harry Potter movies. Because I loathe them.
I know another episode you're coming back on then for.
I can't wait, because I am excited for Harry Potter as a TV show, because those books deserve 12 episodes worth to tell the story. I need more than one damn Quidditch match per story. Regardless, that's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. But it is one of the most faithful adaptations from book to movie, in which I feel like I got the story and I didn't miss any of the important thing. And you're right, man. Michael Clark Duncan as John Coffey, he killed them with they love, boss. Like, that performance was one of the most iconic and thrilling performances of taking a literary character from the page and just transporting him onto screen. Same with Edward Delacroix. I've seen that actor a lot. I forget his name. He's one of those guys, but he was really, really good too. And it's just everyone in the movie performed exponentially. But if you don't have Tom Hanks, it's not going to sell right, because Tom Hanks is that father figure that can oversee all of the mystical and be that audience surrogate of what's really happening. And he brings you into it and keeps you into it. And I think that's the magic of the movie, is that Tom Hanks is such an overwhelming presence. He's perfect for the role of Paul Edgecombe.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll even go one further into that movie doesn't work without Tom Hanks, and it also doesn't work without the mouse that played Mr. Jingles.
Oh, Mr. Jangles.
Mr.
Absolutely.
Jangles, yeah.
Mr. Jangles.
I will say another thing I really love about The Green Mile too, and this is kind of me tooting my own horn, is there's an actor in that movie I've actually had on Wilhelm before.
Brutus?
William Sadler.
Oh, okay.
who played Klaus.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I've had William Sadler on the podcast before, and I actually had to remind myself. I'm like, oh yeah, because he's in Shawshank and The Green Mile.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. That's amazing. So let me ask you this, by the way. Is it not crazy that three iconic all-time movies, being Shawshank, The Green Mile, and Stand By Me, are all Stephen King novels that have been adapted that are non-horror based novels? Like, I think it's fascinating what his non-horror based novels have been able to do as movies. Because you think about Stand By Me, think about Green Mile, you think about Shawshank, they're amazing.
Well, but you also have to realize too that horror is a genre that is not for everybody.
That's true.
So like when you talk about Stephen King's It, or you talk about Salem's Lot, or you talk about, Misery, or any of these other horror-based novels that he's done that have been adapted, Pet Sematary, Christine, like all these other great movies that I love because I'm a fan of horror. You're kind of alienating some of your audience because they may not be into horror. So you talk about Shawshank and you talk about Green Mile and Stand By Me. These are more dramatic performances. Drama works with a bigger audience. So I can kind of understand how those movies have been more successful.
That's true. That makes sense.
Than some of the other ones that he has done.
I like that.
So
that's my number 3. So what do you have in the number 3 slot?
All right. So moving on to my number 3, I went with another one that is a little bit more modern. I think it's almost the same time as Road to Perdition. So let's see, Road to Perdition, 2002. This one is also a Tom Hanks movie from 2002. And this is a particular movie where Tom Hanks played an FBI agent chasing a man on the run, and that is his role of Carl Hanratty in Catch Me If You Can.
Love that.
It is. I love the fact that it's based on a true story, for one. That Frank Abagnale was a real person. This is it's based on his life, and I don't know how exact it is. But you talk again about like a stellar cast. You've got Tom Hanks, Martin Sheen, Leo DiCaprio, Christopher Walken, Amy Adams. Like there's James Brolin. There's he works with some phenomenal casts in the movies that he does. And it's a perfect example of how his talent is. He has this talent for blending humor with dramatic tension. He plays this agent who's just absolutely relentless in like chasing down Leo's character, who he's oddly, Leo himself is playing this really objectively charming person, which is, it's a challenge for Tom Hanks to play against, because in many times, more often than not, he's the one that's playing that charming person.
True.
In the film. So it's going against type for him as well in this movie, because he's playing against the charmer, played incredibly well by Leonardo DiCaprio in this movie. But I mean, like, again, like I talk about balancing the humor and the dramatic tension. He's also good at, like, it's the perfect balance of him in his acting, the character alone of portraying, what's the word I'm looking for? Like balancing determination and empathy.
Okay.
Because that's how his character is. Like, he's determined to find Frank. He's determined to chase him. But he also feels for this character because he knows he learns more about this character as he's going. And that's where the empathy comes in. So I love the cat and mouse dynamic of him and Leo. I just think it works so well, which is why, like, I love this movie.
And I think Tom Hanks and Leo DiCaprio is a cinematic pairing with a lot of meat on the bone.
Yeah.
You think about what those two guys can do together, and what they did together in this film. And it's kind of surprising they have not teamed up again, because you think about where Tom Hanks's career has gone since then. You think about where Leo's career has gone since then. They've both trajected upwards. Neither of them have really plateaued by any means after this. And it's just, I wonder if we'll get them again, because they really were magnetic. And it was really electric to have two competing, unrelentingly charming individuals share the story together. And it's phenomenal choice.
Yeah, this was another one that, like, it's another one I need to revisit very, very soon, because it's been a while since I've seen it, but it always sticks out as one of my most memorable experiences watching a Tom Hanks movie.
And I got to give a shout out to my mentor, Dr. Griffith. When I told him I was doing this show, he said that was his favorite Tom Hanks movie. So there you go, nice. Dr. Griff. Catch Me If You Can made it on at least Ben's list. Told you it wouldn't make it on mine. So
no, that's all right. But you know what? Let's continue on. So we've gotten down 5, 4, and 3. We're into the top 2 now for both of our lists. This is where it's going to start to get interesting. Because
amazed.
We're going to see. So, what is your number 2?
Okay, so my number 2 is. It's arguably Tom Hanks's number 1, and that's Forrest Gump. I mean, everything about my love of Tom Hanks started with this little movie. His ability to play this character, the movie itself is drag out, knock down, phenomenal, and his portrayal of the character is otherworldly. It is one of his most quotable films. I don't know what this says about my best friend Matt and I, but it is one of our favorite movies together, Forrest Gump. It introduced me. I mean, like, yeah, we've all seen Princess Bride, but this was my introduction to Robin Wright, Gary Sinise, Tom Hanks, and the way that it when this movie came out, I was probably like 8 years old. So my understanding of American history is moderately shaped by the events of Forrest Gump.
I totally get that.
As well as my appreciation for the music of the era, there are so many moments and lines and scenes and things that are just instantly quotable. It's got to be on like AFI's top 10 all-time movies. It is everything. Forrest Gump, easily my number 2, without a doubt.
I am reserving my thoughts.
Okay. All right.
Because you may have touched on what my number 1 is.
Dun dun dun.
So I will go ahead and
do your 2.
Reserve my thoughts on that, because you have your number 2 is indeed my number 1.
All right.
Now it's going to be interesting, because we were joking about what my number 2 might be your number 1.
Right.
This will be interesting if that is the case. My number 2. This is, again, I love this movie so much. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's a combination of the story, his performances from the other actors. There's just so much to this movie that makes me love this movie so much, about this poor immigrant trapped in an airport.
Ooh.
Okay, so not your number 2.
No, sir.
Not your number 1. Okay.
Not my number 1.
My number 1 is The Terminal. Or my number 2 is The Terminal.
I love that. Please go.
I like his portrayal of Victor Navorsky. He is a man stranded in a New York airport because of a political crisis in his home country. At the time he lands in New York, he is a man with no home. He can't leave the airport because he doesn't have a passport, or he doesn't have a visa. But because of the political strife at home, he can't fly home. He literally is a man with no home country to return to. So he ends up living in the airport. And just, his performance of Victor is just, it's just this embodiment of resilience and optimism and humanity. And it just, it literally shines through in almost every scene that he is in. And you combine that with the fact that he is playing an immigrant who barely speaks English. So that's a whole nother element of acting on top of that. he has to play with an accent. He has to play someone who doesn't understand the English language. And like, the fact that he is able to do this and do it well just shows his dedication to his craft. And the film is just a great blend of humor and heart and social commentary. And I think this is just an incredibly underrated performance of his. I think it's an underrated movie. But I also think it's one of his most endearing performances. And again, you look at Stanley Tucci, Zoe Saldana, like it's another really star-studded Catherine Zeta-Jones, who plays the love interest in the movie. It's just, there's so much about this movie that I love. And it's one of those ones that when I said like, if I had to choose a movie to watch right now, which one would I watch? I would almost always go to The Terminal.
So full disclosure, that is not one I have seen. That is one that slipped past me. So you have just convinced me I need to watch The Terminal as soon as possible, man. That is a glowing endorsement.
You need to watch it, and then you need to tell me your thoughts when you do.
Happily. I will happily
very
do
curious
that.
to see what you think, because
I'm here for it.
It's 2004. I mean, again, we're talking about a movie that's 20 years old at this point.
Wow.
Still love it.
So it is an airport movie post 9/11.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that probably makes some sense with why the security is the way it is, etc. Okay. I'm excited.
But I mean, like, it's funny because, like, again, like, he is a man, like I said, he's a man without a home.
Right.
He's stranded in this airport because he can't leave it, because he can't enter the country, and he can't fly home because there's nothing going to his home country. Like, no one can leave or go in or out. And he doesn't have any money to buy a ticket to go anywhere else. So it's a man he's literally trying to survive in an airport. He has to work. He has to interact. He has to eat. Like, it's just, and in the meantime, he's dealing with this airport security led by Stanley Tucci.
Awesome.
Who are just trying to, like, he's just an annoyance.
For sure. How would he not be at that point?
Yeah. It's just,
oh my gosh,
man, I adore this movie so much.
I gotta find where that's at and give it a shot.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. If you can find it, definitely give it a watch.
If it made your number 2, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth a glance.
But though, that brings us now to number 1.
Number 1.
What have I now? I'm curious. Like, I mean, I was always curious, but
for sure, I know what your number 1 is. But again, when I rank my top 5, it is about rewatchability and enjoyment. And with this one, not only is it the most rewatchable, it's also Tom Hanks's first directing, first writing, not first, but one of his many starring roles.
Oh, I already know what it is.
It's that thing you do, baby.
Yep.
I adore that thing you do, and everything from Playtone Records, ladies and gentlemen. I adore the Oneaters. What's that? No, I'm sorry, the Wonders. The entire cast is phenomenal. That was where I first met Steve Zahn.
Steve Zahn, yeah,
37. So that might even be the first time I met Liv Tyler. It is Ethan Embry as
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron out of nowhere. The guy from Dead Man on Campus, you know him, and just
Tom Everett Scott.
Tom Everett Scott, thank you. Yes, him. That's the one.
Giovanni Ribisi is in that movie.
It's insane. First off, it's set in Pennsylvania. They are from Pittsburgh, PA, which is not as cool as Philadelphia, but it still is a major city in the state of Pennsylvania. So that's neato. But there's something very, I have no love for Pittsburgh. There is something very charming about the story of the American one-hit wonder version of the Beatles and the record industry at that time, and what it was like for a bunch of these very young adults to have this moment in the sun. I thought it is one of Liv Tyler's most enjoyable and endearing performances of all time. And you think about her run in the 90s between this and Armageddon and Empire Records, this is probably her best role in that span, and she knocks it out of the park. Everyone does a great job. Tom Hanks wrote a hell of a script, and I I don't know how many people know this, but the song for That Thing You Do was written by a guy named Adam Schlesinger, who was the lead singer and songwriter for a band called Fountains of Wayne that got popular off of the song Stacy's Mom. Yep. Adam Schlesinger actually passed away from COVID at the early days of the COVID epidemic. And I found it ironic because when Tom Hanks got COVID is when America finally shut down. So I found that parallel very interesting. And that's just because I loved Fountains of Wayne. And when I heard about that, it made me very sad. But
I didn't know that Adam had passed away. Yeah.
He passed away during COVID, and that was, because he did all the music for My Super Ex-Girlfriend. He was huge. So yeah.
Jeez, you talk about a blast from the past.
That's what I'm here for, baby.
Girlfriend.
That's what I'm here for. A little Adam Schlesinger for your Thursday evening or whenever folks are listening to this.
It has been a while since I've seen That Thing You Do, but I do remember really, really enjoying that movie. It is just a really charming and just a lot of fun movie to watch these kids go through experiencing this whole one-hit wonder kind of love and trying to ride that wave as long as they can. And I remember that was 96, I believe. I think I was either a senior or a sophomore or going into my junior year. And I remember that song being thrown into rotation with my friends.
Huge. So good. It's still good. It still bops to this day, dude. And I'm a drummer, so watching Guy just do what he does on the drums as Shades was so when he gets into it and you feel it and you're like, oh God, this is exactly what it's like. And I was in crappy garage bands in high school, so it definitely hits very, very close to home. I love this movie.
Yeah, it's that. You know what? I gotta write that down. That's one that wasn't in my honorable mentions, but it's one I gotta revisit.
It's a feel-good movie that's just going to make you feel really warm and fuzzy. It's a perfect. If it's raining on a Saturday afternoon, throw on That Thing You Do. It's going to feel sunny.
I it's always sunny in Philly. It's no big surprise. I mention this almost every episode that I write down movies. One of the main reasons I love doing this podcast is to be either reminded or introduced to movies I've never seen, because I love movies. I'm a huge cinephile. So last top 5 with James Earl Jones, there was a couple movies that came up I wrote down, and I have my list started for this one.
I love it. Well, hey, you got me on the terminal. So, and I promised myself I wouldn't bring up The Wire this time. So, I'm
just
not going
did.
to. I know that's my way of getting around it. Damn it,
you just did. No, that's a good pick for number 1. That's I think his wife is in that too. Rita Wilson's in that.
Absolutely, Rita Wilson is in that. She is the gal at the nightclub that's not flirting with Guy, but kind of flirting. But then when he finds out Del Paxton is there, it's it's curtains, man. He's good. He's good. Yes. Nice.
Good pick for number 1.
Thank you kindly. So, I mean, I'm titillated. I have absolutely no earthly idea what your number 1 might be, Ben.
Oh, that's not true at all. So, yeah, you touched on it. It was your number 2. And as I said, it's my number 1. No list of greatest movies of all time would be complete without Forrest Gump. I mean,
absolutely.
It is, you kind of touched base on a lot of it. It is something that, it's educational in its own way in the timeline of history that we learn. Now, obviously, there are some graces taken with it a little bit. Forrest wasn't the one that shined the light on the Watergate scandal.
We don't know that, Ben. We don't know that for sure.
Now, do you know, I don't know if you know this or not, there was a sequel in the works.
Oh man, that book is so bad.
I know. That's one of the reasons why
it's real bad. And Tom Hanks was like, "I'm not doing this."
It's I think Bubblegum Inc. is the sequel.
I believe
book,
so.
Right?
I believe so. Yeah.
But it was similar to Forrest Gump in that it was history reflected through Forrest Gump's experiences.
It was him and Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah. So I'm glad that never happened.
Dude, that would have been so bad. Because honestly, did you ever read the original Forrest Gump book?
I haven't.
Oh, Forrest is a dick. Forrest is not Tom Hanks in the book. He's actually not nice. So think Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, but 2 times worse.
Early day Sheldon.
That's a great call. First 3 seasons Sheldon.
Okay.
So Tom Hanks takes a character that was but something you would expect from Chuck Palahniuk, and makes him really lovable really quickly.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, like, going back to my reasons for choosing this, I mean, we talk about a character in Forrest that is just captures innocence, kindness, and resilience together. Wholesomeness is another one of those. He is just, and then seeing him just becoming an influence of some of the most pivotal moments in American history in such a way that Robert Zemeckis is great at. I mean, I have no lack of love for Robert Zemeckis. Like, that's Back to the Future,
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's like a director that I will do a Robert Zemeckis episode of Wilhelm down the line.
Good luck.
Right?
Good luck. That's like doing a Tim Burton one. But
it's just like you talk about quotability of this, like, but you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan. Like, it's Lieutenant Dan, ice cream. Like, there are so many quotable lines.
But I was running.
It happens. What shit? Sometimes.
How about Bernard from Lost being the principal that Sally Field banged for Forrest to get into school?
Get him in school.
All right. There's
just right.
Bear Bryant being his college football coach. Like, there's tentacles everywhere. You love it.
The movie is so quotable, and Forrest is just has become an iconic character.
Yes.
For so many that even if you've never seen the movie, you know who Forrest Gump is.
Absolutely.
And it's just, it's just, there's so many elements that make this a great film, but it's also just like a cultural touchstone in entertainment. And my final thought on it too, before we wrap it up with that, is you mentioned the music. I still, to this day, now I'm not a person that carries physical media anymore. I have very little physical media, pieces of physical media. I have a couple physical video games, but most of them are digital. I have a couple Blu-ray or HD Blu-rays and such that are that I have because they're movies that I love. So I want to keep the physical aspect of it. And I only own maybe 5 CDs for music.
Holy hell.
The double CD Forrest Gump soundtrack is still one of the CDs that I own.
That's outstanding.
Because that soundtrack is phenomenal.
It's flawless. It's absolutely flawless.
It is the greatest collection and compilation of 60s, 70s, and 80s music. More 60s and 70s than anything. But man, it is such a great compilation of songs. The more music from Forrest Gump soundtrack, which was also a 2 CD set, was good, but that first one is just.
I mean, for sure.
The second one was like leftovers.
Absolutely, yeah. It's B-sides all day.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we talk about obviously Tom Hanks, Robin Wright, Gary Sinise, Sally Field. Michael Eddie Williamson as Bubba.
Oh my God! Oh, he's one of the more memorable and just endearing characters. I gotta get Bubba and all of it. Just everything. Oh my God! You're gonna make me cry. I can't think about Bubba right now. I can't.
God, it's so good. But so good. I mean,
fantastic number one. Fantastic.
Forrest Gump number one, easy.
Oh my God!
But with our top 5s now done. That leads us into honorable mentions, which
I'm blown away at myself, Ben. We have now done a top 5 baseball movies. We have now done a top 5 Tom Hanks movies, and yet A League of Their Own has not cracked either list for me. I am ashamed of myself.
Oh, for you, yeah, it was in my top 5
yours
for baseball movies.
I really wanted to force it in, man, but I had to go with You've Got Mail, and I'm despondent. I'm a little bit beside myself that A League of Their Own is only an honorable mention. It is number 6 on my list, though.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, look, this is a difficult list.
It's not
There
easy.
are going to be some that were left out.
For sure. Neither of us mentioned Saving Private Ryan. Like, what?
Honorable mention.
Gotta be.
Neither one of us mentioned Toy Story.
That is clearly one of my honor. Although, hear me out. You're gonna hate this. You're gonna hate this so freaking much. Hold on. Let me explain myself because I know you're gonna hate this so much. Okay.
All right.
I am going strictly on the ability of Tom Hanks to convey a complex emotion at a second level that shouldn't be acceptable in a kid's movie, but is. I'm sorry, dude. I have to go Toy Story 4.
Oh, man.
Dude, I'm sorry. His ability to say, I'm going to break away from everything I've ever known and chase my own happiness instead of my happiness as it relates to someone else. Dude, that's magical. That is, I know you're not a Toy Story 4 guy. I do.
Okay.
But it's so good.
I will say this. I was against the idea of a Toy Story 4 because Toy Story 3 wraps up that story so beautifully.
Yes.
That when they announced Toy Story 4, I was like, why? We don't need this. The story has been told. It is done. It was wrapped with a nice little bow, perfectly tied. Why are we going to unravel it? Like, we don't need to. And then I saw it, and I openly admit I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really delightful. I'm now in that boat for Toy Story 5, which has been announced.
I don't know how they're going to bring it back. I don't know how they're going to retcon this one.
No, because they're not together anymore.
So is Tom Hanks not coming back, or is it just separate storylines? Is this Lost season 5? What's going on?
I don't know, but you know as well as I do from what you just mentioned, like they go on their own paths. Buzz and Woody are no longer a pair at the end of 4.
So why would they?
Woody's off on his own. Like,
it's amazingly less contrived than Woody finding Bo Peep again. Like, okay, that's a stretch, but like, really, Woody's gonna somehow find a way to get back with Buzz. That's a little hinky.
Yeah, I
don't
see
know. Oh, but you know what? You know what, Disney? You got my money. I got 2 kids. You got my money. I'm gonna go see it. Like, that's fine. You
now
can have my dollars.
I will say, I think of the 4 movies, I think Toy Story 2 is the strongest.
I would agree with that.
I think the ending of 3 is the best, but I think 2 all overall is the strongest of the 3 movies.
Top to bottom. Yeah, because there's no inherent sad part, to be honest. I mean, it's all happy-go-lucky, mission-based, and then the only sad part lasts for like all of 10 seconds because the gang is already back together. Whereas, Toy Story 1, you have the, oh my God, are they going to make it back into the thing? Toy Story 3, you have the moment we all died inside in the incinerator. I mean, it's impossible to watch that. And I'm thinking about just the visuals of Woody and Jesse and Buzz holding hands, and like, as you can hear in my voice, dude, it's coming.
I can't believe that when I went and saw that movie in theaters, I was audibly sobbing, thinking to myself, "Oh my God, they're gonna die! They're really gonna die! Like, this is the end for Woody." And even though it's a Disney movie, they're not gonna die, but internally you were like, "They're gonna die! Like, what is happening?" It's so well done that you, for a moment, you believe this is the end for this group.
Damn right.
Oh my God. And then they're saved by the aliens, which is just perfect. But I mean, like, Toy Story 2, that whole scene with Woody and Bullseye and Jesse, like,
oh man,
right, like in the Old West chase scene, chasing a plane to save, Buzz and Jesse and Bullseye to save Buzz, and like wrangling up, like, oh my God, like, that is one of the best scenes in any Toy Story movie. I don't care what anybody says.
And I'll even argue as saying the reveal of the prospector being the bad guy was one of the more surprising villain reveals in a Disney Pixar movie to date at that point. Yeah. That was a really good one where they did not lead. They led enough breadcrumbs that on your 6th rewatch, you're like, oh, nope. Yep. I see that. I see those little things. But no, it was very well executed. No, number 2 is really good. But Toy Story franchise as an honorable mention, Nicely done. I like it. I like it.
So just a couple that we've mentioned already that I'll just get off the list real quick. We just mentioned Toy Story, obviously. Saving Private Ryan is in my honorable mentions. A League of Their Own, Big, both in my honorable mentions. Those are the ones that we have mentioned so far. Before I mention any of the other ones that I have, I'll turn it over to you. What are a couple other honorable mentions that you have?
So there's one more that we did mention that we haven't talked about, which is Joe versus the Volcano.
Yes.
I think if you want to get a wacky ass version of Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, where Meg Ryan is playing so many characters and you're just like, what the hell am I watching?
Yeah, she's 3 characters in that movie.
And they're all phenomenal. It is a crazy ass fever dream that could only come out of the coke-addled 80s, but it is so much fun. Go check out Joe versus the Volcano. You're welcome.
If for nothing else, it's to see Nathan Lane and Abe Vigoda as natives.
Amen.
That drink orange soda.
Speaking of things that probably haven't aged well, I also gotta go with The Man with One Red Shoe. I alluded to Dabney Coleman earlier. It's not a great movie, but there is something so endearingly charming about the existence of Tom Hanks's character in that world. I guarantee you probably haven't heard of The Man with One Red Shoe. Go check it out.
I've seen it.
Not you. I'm talking to the general public out there, but for sure, it's an under the radar Tom Hanks, and it's so much fun.
While we're talking about some of the older Tom Hanks films that made it into my honorable mentions, Mitch, honorable mentions list, I have to mention these 3 in particular. First off, Turner and Hooch.
Sure.
A phenomenal movie.
Absolutely. And parodied wonderfully on Scrubs.
Yes.
Hooch is crazy.
That's right. But the other 2 are The Money Pit.
Love The Money Pit. I have a 110-year-old house, man. I own a freaking Money Pit.
Him and Shelley Long in that movie are just... It's where that iconic Tom Hanks laugh meme comes from, like of him laughing after the tub falls through the floor in the bathroom.
Yep.
But I mentioned, I think either before we started recording or at the top of the podcast, there's one movie in my honorable mentions that was not critically acclaimed, but it was not highly rated at all. Actually, I think if I look it up, what's the rating on IMDb for this movie?
Are you about to say Bachelor Party?
No.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure.
So, okay. It's not bad. It's at a 6 out of 10 on IMDb. No, it is a movie based off a television show with Tom Hanks
with Dan Aykroyd
and Dan Aykroyd. It's Dragnet.
Oh, that's a really good choice, man. That's a really good choice.
Love that movie.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. I love that movie. And it's actually it's based off a TV show, but it's actually, I think, like a continuation of the TV show.
I believe so.
He plays Friday, but I think the original Friday from the television show was his uncle.
Okay.
Yeah. I think his uncle was the original Joe Friday.
Oh, man. That's such a good call.
Because when he sits down at his desk, there's a picture of the original Joe Friday.
Absolutely.
Who I think was his uncle. So I think he is the nephew of the original Joe Friday. So I think it's based off the television show, but it's a continuation of the TV show.
Nice. Nice. That's a good one. So I'm a little bit surprised at some of the movies that did not make either of our lists, even honorable mentions.
I still have a couple more.
Oh, thank God. Keep going. What you got?
Do you have more?
I got nothing, man. That's the vast majority of my.
So okay, so I have just a couple more. The Burbs, obviously, which we joked about at the top of the podcast. Castaway, which is just, I mean, it's him acting on his own.
It's a movie I am so happy to see once and once only. I am good on that.
Another movie in which he starred with Gary Sinise, and that's Apollo 13, is in my honorable mentions list.
Classic.
And I will say one more that is a more recent film that I just adored when I saw it, is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, where he plays Mr. Rogers.
I am embarrassed to say I haven't seen it yet.
I wouldn't be embarrassed about that.
All right.
It's still a relatively newer movie, as in like the last 10 years. So, Actually, I think it's the last 5 years.
That works. I have seen Saving Mr. Banks, so that's probably my most recent biopic of his. That is a good one.
If I look at, what did I say? It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. That was, let's see. No, it wasn't that far back. Hold on. What is
19? Was it 2019?
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Let's see. A Man Called Otto was 22. Why do I not see it? Wait, am I an actor? Oh, no, I'm in producer. That's why I don't see it. I'm like, yeah.
I'll do it.
Oh,
I think I'm going to go 2019.
It is, let's see. Captain Phillips, which was another one.
Captain Phillips and Sully didn't make
2019. Yep.
2019. Okay. Nice.
Hey, pretty much nailed it.
I need to see
so
that.
Last 5 years.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
All right. Like an Anna Kendrick film, the last 5 years.
I love Anna Kendrick.
Many do.
That's a topic for another
another day.
Yep. So what else? What you said there was a couple others that you were kind of embarrassed we never brought up.
All right. So we've just mentioned kind of some of the big ones. So Sully, Captain Phillips. I'm trying to think. There have been a few recently that I have not seen. I did not see The Circle with Hermione Granger.
No, I haven't either.
Emma Watson. I've heard horrid things about it. I have heard nothing but bad reviews. So it's hard for me to kind of convince myself to see it. But I haven't really seen a lot of his biopics, and I feel like I kind of need to see more of them because that's really what he's gotten into. But a weird Christmas staple, man, the Polar Express.
Oh,
what are your thoughts on that freak of nature of a movie?
I don't think that's weird at all. That's a yearly view for me.
Okay, all right. My kids adore it. They love the Polar Express, and
again, Robert Zemeckis.
This is Zemeckis, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man, motion capture was at a wild time in our era when that movie was made.
I'll tell you one of his more recent films that I watched and is definitely weird, but I really enjoyed was Finch.
That's the Apple movie, right?
That was the Apple. Yeah, it was the Apple.
That looks really good.
Apple movie where he is one of the last surviving people on the planet. And it's him and a robot.
That looks really good.
Him, a robot, and a dog.
That's a good trifecta right there.
Yeah. So, and it's basically like the basic premise is that there are very few people left on the planet because of a disaster that happened. And he has a dog and he basically builds a robot because he is coming to the end of his life. And he builds a robot to take care of the dog.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
That's okay. I might have to check that one out. That one sounds good.
Yeah, it's really sweet. It's really well done. And I'll tell you another one more recent of his that I also saw that I really enjoyed was Greyhound.
Oh, okay.
Which is like a warship movie.
Right.
The war stuff really well.
He does it super well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh.
I will tell I'll tell you a funny story about Tom Hanks that I learned and then we'll lead into wrapping it up too. But I don't know if you know this or not, but Tom Hanks is a huge fan of typewriters.
I do know this. Yes.
He collects them. And Chris Hardwick, who is one of the creators of the Nerdist podcast, which is now I forget what it's called now because he's not with Nerdist anymore. But during the time that he was doing the podcast, he wanted to have Tom Hanks on the podcast and he got him. And the way he did that was by finding this old classic typewriter that still worked. He put a fresh ribbon in it. He typed up the invitation on the typewriter and left it in the typewriter and sent the typewriter to Tom Hanks to add to his collection. And Tom Hanks received it and loved it and responded and said, yes, like happily, I will come on your podcast. So Chris Hardwick had him on his podcast simply by sending him a typewriter.
That's a solid move, man. That is good salesmanship right there.
That's why I love Chris Hardwick too.
That's pretty awesome.
And I'll also say this too, like if you want to see a good interview, a good fun interview with Tom Hanks too, On the Good Mythical Morning channel, there's a series called Last Meals with Chef Josh. Chef Josh actually had Tom Hanks on Last Meals, and it's an interview. It's like an hour long. It's that he's interviewing him and asking him like questions while they're enjoying what Tom Hanks had chosen to be his last meal.
Nice.
So he goes over like why he chose what is all the selections are, and then they just talk about life and career and everything. The Tom Hanks episode is really good.
Nice.
So, but I think overall, top fives and honorable mentions, we went through a lot of his work.
We hit a lot of Hanks. We did. I think we touched on them all.
Yeah. Well, we didn't touch on them all.
I mean, all the ones worth bringing up in an hour and 15-minute conversation.
Yeah, exactly. But before we start to wrap things up, obviously, I mentioned, and you talked about it too. You now have your own podcast going on, Quit Chasin, with you and your partner. So before I let you go and I move on into the post credit, I want to give you the opportunity to let people know what's the podcast, where can people find it?
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. So the podcast name is the Quit Chasin Podcast, a Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Danny and I are a little cheeky, a little irreverent, and always unqualified. We are talking Philadelphia Phillies and a little bit of life. Danny and I have spent a lot of years in different bands and fans of music. So a lot of times we'll talk about music or just whatever in the world of pop culture and life tickles our fancy. So check it out. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, all of the places you can find podcasts. And stick with us through the postseason and after. We're going to be changing up our format a little bit, and Danny and I are going to be taking introspective looks at 2 albums every week. And we're going to be doing a little album swap. So, yes.
That's kind of fun.
I'll be honest, Ben, I kind of stole the idea of album swap from
the movie swap episode.
Absolutely, yes. So Danny and I are both going to recommend an album. We're going to listen to them and then kind of break them down and talk about it. So that's what we're going to do in the off season.
Hey, imitation is the biggest form of flattery. So
it sure is.
I will happily accept that.
Nice.
And I'll be for sure listening to them too, because I'm a huge music lover too. So
awesome.
I'm always down to check out new albums and add more stuff to my playlist.
That's what I love to hear.
That's awesome. But yep. So that just about does it for the meat of this. We'll be going into the post credit to go over some listener feedback and tell you about some other stuff that's going on with the podcast. But Alex, thank you again for coming on again and doing this. I'm sure it won't be the last time you will be on either.
It is always just such a pleasure, Ben. You started me on this journey. I am always here to take a couple more steps with you. So thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, not a problem. All right, guys, stick around for the post credit. We'll be right back into that in a few. Welcome into another Wilhelm post credit. Before we get started, I want to apologize for my voice. I'm still recovering from a serious case of the good old con crud from attending TerraCon this past weekend, which unfortunately ended up turning into a full-on flu, which was just kind of lying in wait. So if I sound a little rough, that's why, but stick with me. I promise I'll get through this. I also want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my guest, Alex Kruger, for joining me on this episode as we talked about our top 5 favorite Tom Hanks movies. Make sure you check out Alex's podcast, the Quit Chasin Podcast, especially now that the Phillies are in the playoffs once again, chasing yet another Red October. If you're like me and you're from the Philadelphia area, you are excited. It's a great time to be a baseball fan and an even better time to be a Phillies fan. So if you're a Phillies fan, or even if you're not, do me a favor, go check out the Quit Chasin Podcast, available wherever podcasts are found. But, I put the question out there, as I usually do each week, to get some of your listener feedback. And the question I posed, of course, because it was Tom Hanks, was what are some of your favorite Tom Hanks movies and why? And you guys didn't disappoint. Once again, I got a lot of great feedback. So let's dive right into that. Starting first, this one comes from Jeannie Bricker, who just simply said Philadelphia. Great movie. I don't even remember if I don't think that's one we talked about in our list, but it's another great Tom Hanks performance, a dramatic performance, and definitely one worth mentioning. Tony Bruno lists his top 5. He says, Catch Me If You Can, Green Mile, Big, The Terminal, and Bridge of Spies. All ones we mentioned, I think, with the exception of Bridge of Spies, we didn't talk about either. But that's another great movie. Tom Hanks, you can't really go wrong. I mean, come on. Alex and I talked about this. There's so many good ones. This was honestly one of the most difficult episodes to do. Laura Willie Swink lists her top 5, and she says, number 1, Splash. How did we forget to mention Splash? Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah. I mean, come on. That is a great movie. A mermaid. Come on. It's a great movie. Number 2, Big. Number 3, The Burbs, a very underrated, very funny, very weird movie. I agree totally. Number 4, Toy Story. And number 5, The Green Mile. All great choices. I don't think you're going to hear me say bad choices at all in this list. Dave Butler says Apollo 13, Big, Forrest Gump, Philadelphia, The Burbs, Captain Phillips, Larry Crown, Greyhound. Sorry I couldn't settle on 5. And you know what, Dave? It's quite all right. I honestly, this time around when I put the post out there, I said, what are some of your favorite Tom Hankses? I didn't limit you to 5 because I knew it was going to be difficult. So no problem whatsoever that you didn't do 5. Kind of critiquing that I did ask and why, and nobody so far has answered that, but that's okay. You're all forgiven. Nathan Moreau. So many movies to choose from, but I would have to say my top 5 are Big, Turner and Hooch, Castaway, Apollo 13, and A League of Their Own. Honorable mentions, of course, to Forrest Gump and Splash. Turner and Hooch, another one we didn't mention, but man, I remember watching that when I was a kid and being, spoiler alert, completely heartbroken when Hooch is shot. And, you know, it's one of those movies that, you know, there's a website out there now that's, I think it's just called Does the Dog Die? Because anytime there's a dog in a movie, that's like a big thing now. Nobody wants to watch dogs die. And Turner and Hooch would be on that site because, unfortunately, if you haven't seen it, Hooch does die when he gets shot. But it still does have a happy ending afterwards. So if you haven't seen it, watch it. We're well past spoilers on Turner and Hooch. It's a great, great movie. Denise Anderton says The Money Pit. I believe we all get that feeling sometimes, whether we got a deal on something. Is it going to be great? What the hell was I thinking? Everything goes to shit. You don't think you can take one more minute in at that last moment. It was well worth the wait. I feel most days I am Walter Fielding, and you know what? I feel that way sometimes too. We're all Walter Fielding in certain moments. As long as nobody's asking you if your wife's got good looking wool, then you've got issues. Derek O'Neill says, I'm not a big fan of Tom Hanks movies, but he has done so many movies and he has some fantastic performances. My top 5 would be Toy Story 2, The Green Mile, Road to Perdition, The Burbs, and Big. Somebody else mentioning Road to Perdition. I love it. That was in my top 5. I really highly, highly recommend that movie if you haven't seen it. Same with The Terminal. Somebody else mentioned The Terminal earlier, too. I think it was Tony. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was Tony mentioning The Terminal as well. Great, great movies. If you haven't seen them, check them out. Megan Dively Lehman. Forrest Gump is a definitive role for me. His line deliveries for so many of those eternally quotable moments will live rent-free in my head forever. He got a daddy named Forrest too, and his love for Jenny, running through the reflecting pool to her, sob. Others that stand out for me are A League of Their Own, Castaway, and The Green Mile. I just rewatched Forrest Gump too while I was sick because I talked a lot about this during the podcast too. The music in that movie is outstanding. That soundtrack is one I still own, like I mentioned, and I was listening to a lot of music while I was on my mend, and I started listening to a lot of that old music that was from the movie, and it made me want to watch the movie again. So in my time since we recorded the episode and now, I have watched Forrest Gump, which is just great. Randall John Moyer says A League of Their Own, Reason being, up to that point, Hanks was known almost primarily for comedic roles that also came with a lot of big physicality. While this role has plenty of comedy in it, it also showed he had an excellent dramatic side to him as well, and it really launched his career in a different direction. Also, The Lady Killers. It's not a critically praised film or commercial success. However, Hanks did that movie through a midst of extremely serious roles, and it showed he was still fully capable of doing silly comedies. Thank you so much for that one, Randy, because that's a great point about A League of Their Own. But also another great point about The Lady Killers. We didn't talk about that movie at all, but that is a really underrated Tom Hanks movie. I mean, you've got Tom Hanks, Damon Wayans. It is and it's a very different role for Hanks. He's almost playing like a Colonel Sanders type character, but it works the way he performs it. It's a very underrated film. I recommend that one as well, The Lady Killers, if you haven't seen it before. Mark Kirkman says Splash, Joe versus the Volcano, Mazes and Monsters, Philadelphia, Castaway, The Burbs, Apollo 13, Saving Private Ryan, and all the Toy Story voice acting he has done. Honestly, this man has done so much in cinema that we know who he is. I remember him from when I first saw him in the TV show Bosom Buddies in 1980 when I was 8 years old. Way to show your age there, Mark. Tom Hanks has been a staple in my life as an actor, character, and celebrity. There is nothing that he has done in film that I wasn't disappointed with and entertained. I think you mean you weren't disappointed. Maybe you said it right. My brain's still fried. And yes, Dragnet is included. Hey, I talked about it. Dragnet's great. Love it. It's one I need to rewatch too. Mazes and Monsters I've never heard of before. I thought there would have been more. I thought that that's the first I haven't heard of any of these done. I'll have to check that one out. Look that up. Jesse Riker says Tom Hanks roles and movies with Tom Hanks would net two different answers. So I'll go with my favorite roles. In no order, A League of Their Own, The Terminal, another Terminal mention, I love it. Forrest Gump, Dragnet, another Dragnet mention, and A Man Called Otto. That's one I still need to see. I talked about that during the podcast, and yeah, I should have watched that while I was on the mend, but that's all right. But a great list there, Jesse. Thanks. Jason Kabassi, number 5, Saving Private Ryan. Number 4, A League of Their Own. Number 3, Castaway. Number 2, Big. And number 1, Toy Story 3. P.S. I was a big fan of Tom Hanks' early sitcom Bosom Buddies, and remember when he had a guest spot on Happy Days where he challenged Fozzie to a karate fight as revenge for how the Fonz treated him in the 3rd grade or something. And The Love Boat, where he played a D-bag frat bro. I remember him in Bosom Buddies, like Mark mentioned as well. I do remember that cameo in Happy Days. Didn't know about the cameo in The Love Boat. I'm going to have to look for that one. That's a great little nod, Jason. Thank you for that one. And lastly, we have Colleen Carpenter Kruger. I cast my vote for the underrated gem that is Joe versus the Volcano. I first encountered this film back in 81 or 82. My family was camping and I took my 4 kids, all under 12, to the concession stand, and there, on an 18-inch TV under the yellow bug lights, we settled down on a picnic table and watched this weird little film. It has everything. Tom Hanks in a truly terrible 80s hairstyle wig playing a depressed cog in the machine whose job is a mystery and the workplace is visually miserable. Abe Vigoda playing an improbable island ruler whose inhabitants have a fantastical devotion to Orange Crush. Dan Hedaya as Hanks's boss who repeatedly yells into the phone, I'm not arguing that with you. A phrase that is useful in real life. Meg Ryan playing 3 different characters, all of whom are eccentric. Tennessee Ernie Ford's magnum opus, 16 Tons, and the best performance by a daisy ever captured on film. I love that, Colleen. Thank you. I often wonder if my affection for this movie has more to do with our first viewing of it than the movie itself. Back then, watching a movie in a campground was an unexpected luxury, but it's definitely an honorable mention in the oeuvre of Tom Hanks. Alex and I talked about Joe vs. the Volcano. I think it's more than an honorable mention. I think it deserves to be in the top 5. It's just really tough to find movies to bump from that. But I love you sharing that story with me, Colleen, about that. And yeah, you made a lot of good points. Dan Hedaya, Abe Vigoda. Man, that's another one I need to rewatch. But thank you guys so much for all of that great feedback that you left me for this episode. I hope you guys continue to do so for future episodes. Make sure you're paying attention to the social medias so you know what episodes are coming and you guys can leave feedback for them as we go through. I love just hearing the feedback, and I love discussing these topics with you guys. I love that you guys want to be a part of the podcast by, even if it's just in the form of a comment on Facebook when I post these things. I love that you guys want to be a part of it. Before I sign off, just a quick reminder that, of course, you can find Wilhelm on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review, as it really does help the show grow. You can also follow on social media at Wilhelm Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and make sure to visit the website welcome to Wilhelm.com for all the latest updates, including product reviews, movie reviews, other episodes of the podcast, celebrity interviews, which there are a number of them coming. I have a lot of them in the works right now. One of the things I did do while I was on the mend is send out a lot of emails, and I've gotten a bunch of responses already. So there's already stuff in the works. I don't want to mention it because I don't want to jinx it. I've been doing that a lot in the past. I'll mention interviews that are going to happen, and then somehow they fall through and I get disappointed. So going forward, not going to mention them until they actually happen and they're getting ready to be announced. So you'll have to stick with me on that one, but I promise you there's a lot coming. The Wilhelm Patreon will be launching very soon in November, finally. So if you'd like to support the show and get exclusive content, keep an eye out for the announcement as to when it launches. Again, I'm not launching the Patreon to make money. It is purposely just to break even, and then everything else is going to be going towards building the show and making the show bigger. My next event, I've mentioned Terracon, which I'm recovering from, Concred from. But my next event will be Rhode Island Comic Con in Providence, Rhode Island, November 1st through the 3rd. This is by far our biggest show of the year. Massive, massive. This is the Super Bowl of conventions for us. So if you're in the New England area, make sure to grab a ticket, come out, say hi, come see the panels. I'll be working programming all weekend. We have a lot of amazing guests, including people like the cast of Back to the Future, which I'm incredibly excited about. We have a lot of the cast of American Pie that are going to be out there, including Sean William Scott, Thomas Ian Nichols, Tara Reid, who else do we got? We have the cast of Reno 911 who are going to be doing their appearances in costume the entire weekend. We've got John Cleese from Monty Python, Tatiana Maslany from She-Hulk and Orphan Black. The guest list is insane. If you want to check out the guest list, get tickets to come out to the show, go to ricomiccon.com and you'll find all the details there. I hope I get to see some of you guys out there. When you see me, say hi, and I'll be letting you know as we get closer what my panel schedule is going to be, so you can come out and you can see some of the panels I'm going to be moderating for that. Last but not least, we are a number of weeks away from the election. So it's coming. It's coming quick. I'm not going to make this political in saying who I think you should vote for. I have my opinion. You have yours too. All I'm saying is make sure you get out and vote. This is the biggest time. This is the most important time to do this. Make your voice heard. Go out, vote, whether it's mail-in ballot or going to the polls on election day. Make sure you get out and cast your vote. Make your voice heard. That's all I have to say about that. Again, not making it political. Thank you again, guys, for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening, all that you guys do. But until next time, I will see you guys on another episode of Wilhelm. Take care.